welcome. I'll turn it over to you. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Anna, and hello everyone. Thank you for that introduction. I think it was, quite a bit, but I'm really amazed to see the host of events, that's happening. And I'm also in the board of the ICF Hyderabad chapter, so I'm taking a lot of inspiration from all of you to do, something similar. So wonderful. So to talk about internal coaching, let me start sharing my screen, and you can let me know um, when you can see my screen. Yeah. So this is what happens, right? We do all the tech check and everything, and then we don't find the slide. Yeah, but while I bring that up, I also, wanted to set some context, to share it. Um, so of course, internal coaching, it is, quite talked about, right? So what you're going to see today is not just only my experience of running an internal coaching program, but also doubling up as an internal coach, but also a little bit of the history of internal coaching and how it came to be what it is today, and also some theory around internal coaching, because I personally feel that this practice of coaching, whether internal or external, needs to be grounded in more research and evidence, uh, because the stalwarts in this industry have sometimes commented that this is a profession without a discipline, or the practice runs ahead of its supporting theories. So I'll bring in, some of that academic research also in today's conversation, if that's okay with all of you. And so with that, I wanted to check, are you able to see my screen now? Is it all cooking?
Yes.
Okay,
Looks good.
wonderful. Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. Thank you for that confirmation. So with that, if I can roll. So this is the context of or the history of, internal coaching. And so if you look at this all, started in 2010 in Google, of course, that is where, a lot of things have started, isn't it? So they were doing this Project Oxygen, and a lot of information was coming out of it. But this really happened as an offshoot, not from uh, that project, but really someone who liked, giving career advice in her team, saying that now I'm going to offer it to a whole lot of other people, even outside the team. So I'm going to offer office hours. And that's how it all started. And then Google quickly realized the demand, for that sort of, coaching, and they put something together which is called as the Career Guru program. Um, and of course, they today, if you look at it, they've more than 350 certified internal coaches, and people can reach out to them over Google Hangouts and have career conversations. Now, of course, there is a little bit of a criticism to that isn't sufficient training that the coaches get, and it's more advice. It's really not coaching. But there is no denial that that's where organizations really started to kind of feel or think that this could be something that organizations could do. But very quickly in 2011, you see EMCC starting a special interest group around internal coaching. And by 2013, they had dedicated a specific area on their website around internal coaching. And interestingly, ICF jumped in as well. So in 2020, in the global survey that they conduct pretty much every year, so in 2020, for the first time, they started asking people that if they were an internal coach. And so 17% of people said that they were both an internal and an external coach, but 54% said that their major responsibilities were around internal coaching. And we see a little change in that number in the 2023 survey, where 16% said both they do, both internal and external coaching, but 56% this time around said that their responsibilities include more of internal coaching. So that's a brief history, as to how internal coaching really started and, where we are today. Now, definitely, we need to talk about the definition of internal coaching. Now, we all understand that the definition piece is quite a fuzzy piece in coaching, isn't it? They say that, there are as many definitions as many coaches in coaching. Um, but the purpose of the definition is that it serves, or, it's really universal and it's really applicable. So those are the two components that really drive the definitional strength of anything, in this world. Now, if you look at a lot of definitions, and there are many, many definitions of coaching, you see that most of these satisfy three P's, or either of the three P's or one of the three P's. And so that is purpose, the first P. The second is the people it serves, or the third is a description of the process of coaching. So I just want you to be mindful of that while we see how the definition of coaching has evolved throughout the years. And so if we look at it, in 2001, there was the first attempt by Frisch to define, what internal coaching is. And he defined it as a one-on-one developmental intervention supported by the organization and provided by a colleague of those coached who is trusted to shape and deliver a program yielding individual professional growth. So quite wordy, but I think, there is that first attempt made by Frisch. And he also, kind of published a paper, The Rise of Internal Coach, in 2001, which almost, became a defining moment in the history of internal coaching. And since then, there have been more attempts. So if you see in 2005, Carter, and this was almost in complete defiance, I assume, said that the internal coach is comparable in every sense to the external coach, with the exception that the internal coach is an employee of the same organization as their coachees. So very interesting. Says that there's no difference between an internal and external coach. There's just only one difference, that the internal coach is an employee of the same organization as the coachee. Come 2006, we see that the definition is evolving a little bit, and we see that individualized relationship-based dialogues that promote learning from on-the-job experience and have as their goal improving the short-term or the long-term effectiveness of coachee and as such his or her organization. So these are, certain definitions in the very early days of internal coaching. And then if we really distill these definitions, what we see is that, there are certain commonalities in these definitions. And if we look at the framework and the commonalities in the framework, it is that it is a learning and development activity that is delivered by one employee to another. It is also very analogous to external coaching. And of course, there is the acknowledgement that there are two clients, the coachee and the organization that the coachee belongs to. But of course, the coach also belongs to the same organization. But the coach is really serving two clients, very much, like the external coach, both the coachee and the organization. And there is one very distinct element to this, that the coach needs to be outside the chain of command of the coachee. And so you see this, that the ICF also, kind of follows this framework. Managerial coaching is considered significantly different from internal coaching and is bucketed, a little, differently. And some of you may know that if you are a manager and coaching your team members or your direct reports, that may not count towards the coaching hours that you submit, for your accreditation. So the coach being outside the chain of command is an important element. So internal coaching in that way is different from managerial coaching. And here is what I'd like to call out at this point. There are newer forms of internal coaching that are coming up, or that have been there for a while, but has not yet been integrated completely to the idea of internal coaching. And one of those is peer coaching. Of course, there is a lot of benefit in peer coaching, as the latest research is showing us, but still at this point in time, in the coaching world, peer coaching is not considered as internal coaching. In the sense, the way, we are talking about internal coaching today. So considering all of these elements in the framework, the definition in 2014 then evolved into an individual within an organization who has received formal training in coaching skills, operating within a structured coaching arrangement without formal authority over the coachee, who facilitates the personal and professional growth of others. And at this point, I'd like to take a pause and just check with you. You're all coaches, perhaps, or at least, have some background in coaching. Are you noticing the difference in the definitions from the early years versus, what came to be in 2014? Are you noticing any significant difference?